Innate Illumination here. Hello. Macy here. I'm going to get right into it. There are massive shifts happening. I just saw that there's a volcano erupting in Hawaii. So much synchronicities with that. I just delivered my first online closet package to Hawaii. It's just so interesting how certain energies aren't ready to meet until just the right moment. And I feel like even in something that minuscule and small, that as minuscule and small it may seem as a piece of clothing that's being sent from one person to another, there's energy that is held within that piece of clothing, and energy that is being exchanged not just from me to that person, but in some way, shape, or form, just by them receiving it, is also sending back energy. Okay, so taking a deep breath, because what I'm channeling right now is there are massive ships happening, traveling, water, ocean. There are massive shifts happening. And what brought me to relaying this message has been something, as I see 1221, has been something that I've been noticing for quite some time. If you're someone who writes down your dreams like I do, I have a feeling that whoever's seeing this message, and I also want to bring the intention in with this, I'm going to activate some energy, Chokure, Sai, Heki, protecting this message for who's not meant to see it. And also bringing forth the energy, Hon Shaze Shonen. 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 That this message truly reaches who it's meant to. I've been writing down my dreams since I was 9. There was a period of time in my life where I wasn't, and it highly reflects, at least in my experience. I'm not going to say that this is your experience, because I feel like each person's lived experience is quite unique to each person. During that time in my life where I wasn't writing down my dreams, and even more so not remembering my dreams, it is directly correlated with how present I am in the moment. I used to think it was how like in my body I was. The thing is, it is and it isn't, because when I first started experiencing vivid dreams and even sometimes lucid dreams was when I was young, and it started in the form of nightmares, just because that was the energy in which my external environment was. And then when I began writing down my dreams again, it just, for me, I feel like is correlated with how consciously aware I am of my day-to-day, regardless if it's something that feels in alignment to me or not. So this is a message about dreams, and how I'm noticing that as I shift and as I change in this current reality, I'm noticing that my dreams are also shifting and changing, and I experience my dreams to be alternate realities, other realities, and or Okay, wow. I just came to that. Okay. I heard something in the past year that I didn't fully understand until this very moment. For quite some time, my dreams had represented different realities. And in these different experiences, I noticed that I was literally in, you know, uh, the house the duplex that I grew up in, or an environment that seemed very familiar, like middle school or high school. And only there would be slight differences, kind of like, again, Futurama reference. I guess whichever video I upload first, anyway, where this alternate reality had slight shifts, like Fry, instead of having red hair, had black hair, and Leela, instead of having her regular jacket, what did it go from? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I haven't seen that episode in quite some time. What did she have, blonde hair instead of purple? To where there are slight differences. Anyway, I'm getting too hung up on the details. So I began to experience, when I had my first conscious awakening anyway, that yeah, my dreams definitely started to become more lucid, all of those things. And there would be situations where, I think the first one that I can remember is being at a campfire and some kid out in the distance is like just talking shit at me and just trying to drag me through the mud and like throwing rocks at me and like pieces of fruit. And I remember for the first time, I stood up for myself in my dream instead of just going along with something. And directly correlating and reflecting to the changes that I was moving through in this reality. And I didn't put two and two together for quite some time until I started to realize, even though I was still having dreams where I felt like I was just going along with things, people were using me, I was, succumbing to old habits, old relationships, and even, I know if you're watching this, you are moving through or about to experience a new beginning, a new awakening, and leading up to something like this, especially if you're watching this, I'm filming this while Neptune is in the last degrees of Pisces, and this planet is ruled by Pisces. Sometimes this can be like an unclear energy, kind of in a way trickster energy, but not on purpose. It's just very much all over the place, because I feel like when something comes into culmination, the last zodiac, the 12th zodiac, Pisces, and moves into Aries, which Neptune is about to move into, literally in T-minus 3 days on the eclipse, that there is a ginormous rebirth happening. Is it going to happen on the day? Is it going to happen a month after the day? Has it already happened? Like, each person around this energy is experiencing it differently. It could be a year from this shift. It could be a year before. Everyone's timeline is different. Let me just start with that. I just began to notice that I was beginning, as I was choosing myself and standing up for myself, whether it was, telling one of my family members how I actually felt about a situation, or setting a healthy boundary for the first time, or, telling a loved one or friend, like, that they hurt my feelings and that wasn't okay. whatever it is. I started to realize that I was doing that in my dreams and that I hadn't been doing that before. Dreams to me, again, are alternate realities, alternate dimensions. So as you're raising your frequency and fostering self-love, so are all the versions of you. Let's just take a deep breath to integrate that information. As you are upgrading your frequency, just as we are moving into the fifth dimension, so is the fifth dimension moving into the seventh dimension, and so forth. So every single alternate version of you is fostering self-love. And I began to notice that instead of having dreams with my exes in them where I was just going into the same old habits, I began to have dreams of me telling my significant other at the time that we were going to break up, or that this has already happened before, or I would just completely just walk out of the door and leave them forever. And like me being the one to make that decision, because I noticed in this current timeline that I'm in, let's just call it that, that I had never been the one to let go or leave. I had held on for so long, even when something was dead, that something could have already been decayed and decomposed, and I would still be clinging on to it for dear life. And I began to realize in my dreams that I wasn't doing that anymore. And that's because I was starting to make those decisions here in this reality. It may not have felt as big initially, and it may not had felt as significant, but those little decisions of choosing to not talk to someone anymore, or taking space to someone, or having someone come back into your life that maybe should not have, keeping your distance, or even falling back into that multiple times until finally you decided to cut them off. These, what seemingly seemed like such small things, is creating massive tidal waves in other realities, and is literally creating this ripple effect that's bigger than you know. And when I talk about the ripple effect or the domino effect, it's not just happening in this reality, it's happening in all the realities. It's happening in all of time and space. It's not just affecting the versions of you, it's affecting everyone that's ever been connected to you in any lifetime. And that comes to it's giving me like Loki vibes, the show, where he's weaving the timelines together because he knows, like, that's what you're doing behind the scenes. And there have been moments, and I feel like maybe you've experienced this if you're watching this, and if you haven't, there is nothing wrong with not having experienced this, because again, everyone's timeline is different. I could be sending this message to someone who's living in a lifetime where they don't experience this for 3 more lifetimes, okay? And that doesn't make you behind, it doesn't make you ahead. It literally is happening in all divine timing, okay? So when I say this, I'm saying it in a way where if you've had a lucid dream where all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm here, I'm in this body, I can do whatever I want. You just begin to fly. Or the first time I experienced it was just so simple. I just started to twirl in a parking lot. there comes a point when, and it may or may not come and go, and it may happen over time in a more often, and even in a way where, yeah, I could get way into that. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like that's something that I'm not necessarily meaning to withhold, but I feel like some of this is also meant to be experienced when it's meant to be experienced. So I don't want to give people the impression that if it's not happening to you, that there is something wrong with you. So I'm not going to... There comes a time, whether it happens in spurts or it happens for an extended period of time, where you begin to dream what you're living in now. And I feel like the first time I experienced that was when I was twirling in a parking lot. Because there came a time where I started to have dreams of where I was currently living. And that was very rare for me. I was having a lot of dreams of past experiences and environments. And it wasn't until I began coming into my body consciously for the first time a few years back that that my dreams were beginning to mirror that, and that I was beginning to have dreams of the bedroom that I was sleeping in and the parking lot outside of my apartment and things like that. Yeah. And it was in those moments, I mean, it was only this video that I realized that, like, there comes a time where you begin to dream what you're living now. And it wasn't but just a few days later, after I dreamt of twirling in the parking lot, that I was out in the parking lot and was like, I'm going to twirl around right now because I can, and I can take up space, and I don't care if my neighbors see me or if someone drives by and they think I'm crazy, because I'm in my body and I get to experience this, and no one's going to hold me back from that. And that's when I realized it was like all one, that all of these different alternate realities and dimensions were all coming into one reality and one dimension. That the fragmented pieces of myself were coming back into oneness. And even when there are dreams, like, I know y'all have been having, especially recently with, when was the moon last in Scorpio? I guess that was quite some time ago, like a week and a half ago. But it was like, especially with Pisces being in the last degrees of its planetary ruler. Okay. Number one, Neptune doesn't change zodiacs every like 14 or so years. And let's just see here. The last time Neptune was in Pisces was between 1847 and 1862. Okay? This energy has not been experienced for quite some time. And I know Pisces is a lot about the dreamscape, a lot about dream weaving. And now I'm beginning to understand what dream weaving is. Just surrendering to not knowing, and that the answers are coming. Because, like, if you're watching this message and you're like, okay, dream weaving, like, all right, like, I get it, like, spider with the web and all of that, or if you know, and when I say that, your experience of me knowing that is going to be completely different anyway, okay. If you're seeing this message, the answer is going to come anyway. It's going to come. because it's being introduced to you and or reminding you and or confirming to you what you already know. So yeah, it just reminds me of Loki just like actually being time and just pulling together all of these different timelines and weaving them together. And yeah, Pisces, I feel like for me, I've been experiencing this in, yes, having prophetic dreams as well as having dreams that just pull me right back into old energy. And it's allowing me to see and experience it in a different lens, and to also sometimes treat it as thoughts moving through, that sometimes these are subconscious things that are being released and moving through me, that I am not my dreams, that these are experiences that are happening in a multi-dimensional way, that are all coming from different fragmented areas into one, and that each message that comes through in a dream is meant to show me something, regardless of how uncomfortable it may feel. Even just last night, I dreamt of something that was just like, what? Like, what? And it was something that I feel like my subconscious is telling me to acknowledge and move through. For sure. The next level, it just reminds me of the saying, the next level is exactly what you are avoiding. And when you choose to face it is when you're launched into that new beginning, or that new level. And I know what I'm choosing to face has been a long time coming. And it has a lot to do with in my experience, my fire energy, my passion, my will, my confidence, and it all is coming to a peak in transforming and metamorphosizing and evolving in a way where it doesn't necessarily feel like it's ending. Like, energy cannot be created or destroyed, just changed and evolved and transformed. And it almost feels as if I've been on this side of the infinity sign, and now I'm moving through the intersection right now. I'm moving through the intersection. Confirmation verb. And yeah, I'm facing the core wound of my masculine energy in its purest form. And to access that and live it means that I have to face what initially injured it. And that I was brought back to this space, this space. And yeah, it wasn't until I was like, all right, well, I've got to face this. Sometimes the universe has a way of just doing it for us up until like the point where we've got to just do it. We're at the core. We're at the core of this core wound. Is there something that you're facing right now that is like the core? Like, you know that you literally can't go any deeper into this and face it more face to face than what you're sitting in right now. And that's what the year of the snake is like, quite literally bringing us. Kali energy, Shiva energy. any archetype of this energy in order to reclaim our fire and rekindle that fire. If you're moving through something that sounds highly similar and you're big into crystals and stones, citrine and amber and tiger's eye, specifically citrine and amber, have been really helpful with that and really helpful with solar plexus healing, inner fire healing, confidence, courage, willpower, reclaiming my power. Yeah. Mudras, hand, what's the word I want to use? Just hand practices that really help to tap into, acknowledge, move through, heal, all sorts of different things, these different energy centers of the body. The one for the solar plexus, or one of the mudras for the solar plexus, is touching the ring finger and thumb and the pointer finger with it. Like the coyote, but not that, but that. And just noticing any sensations that arise. There is no right or wrong. If you're feeling tight, your body's asking you to acknowledge why it feels tight. If you're feeling numb, your body's asking you to notice why it feels numb. If there are sensations of heat, cold, whatever it is, just acknowledging what that is. And taking time for you to move through this, not forcing the energy out, not forcing it to change or to leave. That it is associated potentially with a person, an experience, a memory, or maybe something else that is asking you truly, with this year of the snake, with this transition of Neptune from Pisces into Aries, with this on the same day as the eclipse in Aries, this truly is a rebirth, a new beginning for you, one that is asking you to really face the letting go of something and the surrendering of what that looks like and the timeline in which it occurs. Confirmation verb. Even if there are all these ideas about how it's supposed to unravel and when you need to do it and how it's going to happen, that you can truly honor what feels right to you. And again, you're the creator. You're the creator of this life, and Aries energy, creator energy is here, and we're on the precipice of it. And I know that you're already feeling it. And if you need support, I offer one-on-one sessions through breath work, through your prana, the life force through the breath. And I also have a year of the snake practice that is super helpful with that, a Chiron breathwork practice. Chiron is still in Aries, and it will be for quite some time. And Chiron is the wounded healer dealing with core wounds. And if you are moving through this and facing it head on, face to face, heart on, that's a really helpful practice. Both, I mean, even the year of the dragon that we're not even in anymore is so reflective to the year of the snake, that any one of these practices that you can find through my free breathwork resources here on my YouTube channel as well as my Patreon, really helpful in moving through these core wound evolutions. So as you are evolving and transforming, just know that in all dimensions, in all timelines, you are evolving and coming back into the oneness that is you. And you got this, my love. Continue to journal your dreams. Continue to write them down if that's something that you find supportive to you. If you're curious about doing that, start to. Physically writing down what you've remember in your dreams can help you to continue to remember them. And I also feel like it's a good practice for bringing on lucid experiences and things like that with good intention. With that being said, let's take 10 conscious connected breaths, because I'm definitely feelings moving through of just really needing to integrate this information. Feeling the cold air entering your lungs in through the mouth or nose. Feeling the rise of the chest and abdomen, and feeling the warm air exiting as the chest and abdomen fall, and continuing to breathe. You are supported. You are guided. You're welcome to make any movement or sounds as we take these breaths. You are loved. I love you. You got this. You are divine. You are meant to be here. And as you evolve, just know you are creating a ripple and domino effect bigger than you will ever know. And heck, maybe you already do. Maybe you're already feeling it. So just know that you got this. I'm rooting for you. You're amazing. You're beautiful. Sending so much love to you now. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Yeah? Okay. Until next time, y'all.